There you go, Gina. You should be good. If it's green, you should be good. There you go.
This meeting of the Spalding County Board of Elections and Voter Registration is now called to order. Please silence your cell phones and all other electronic devices. And please stand and join me in the invocation. Our Father which art in heaven, we pray that you would attend us this evening, that we might do those things which are beneficial to the electors of Spalding County, that we might always bear in consideration the commitment we have made to them, that we might do thy will and their will and that which is proper according to the laws of the state of Georgia. In Christ's name, amen.
Please join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. As we have no citizen comments tonight, no one signed up, we'll pass on that and move to adoption of the agenda. Are there any amendments to tonight's agenda?
I move that we adopt the agenda as written.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Does anyone want to amend any of the minutes that we have for approval? No, okay. Then we are considering the approval of minutes for the Spalding County Board of Elections and Registrations for October 11th, November the 15th, December the 12th, December the 16th, and January the 3rd. All in favor?
January 3rd needs to be removed. I'm sorry.
January 3rd needs to be removed, okay. No January the 3rd. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. We'll now go to the report of the election supervisor.
Who made that motion?
That was Roy, seconded by Jim.
Good evening, board members. Billy Preston, voter registration coordinator, Sandra Hardy, voter registration clerk, and myself attended the Jarvis Conference held in Athens, Georgia, January the 4th through January the 6th. This was a conference held in regards to the system that is going to replace the present system, ENET, as you all know. And Jarvis, the last day of Jarvis will be January the 31st. The launch day, did I say the last day of ENET will be January the 31st. The launch date for Jarvis will be February the 6th. Please note that the office will not be able to enter any information in regards to voter registration or elections into the system until February the 6th when Jarvis is launched. Also covered at the conference were cellular poll pads, the introduction of cellular poll pads to replace the existing poll pads. Just to share with you a little bit about those. Prior to my arrival, when Dominion came in to play, the county was allotted 38 poll pads which were issued by the state. It appears that we purchased 6 additional poll pads. The county purchased 6 additional poll pads. The state will only cover the upgrade to cellular poll pads for those 38 that the state had issued to us. So we may need to look at in the future, really near future, of those additional 6 poll pads, of having those upgraded as well by taxpayer funds. Oh, we don't know. This is really all new. All that we've been able to verify through Dominion so far is we have asked the question, what do we do with the additional 6? Basically, we're only upgrading the 38. We'll talk later about those. So we've not received the specific guidance or really any basic guidance yet on how we're going to do that.
Kim, is 38 sufficient?
No, especially seeing that in the near future that we're going to be splitting precinct 16 and precinct 21. It
Okay.
will not be. No, we'll have it will all be upgraded. Just know, I'm just giving you a very brief synopsis of what happened at this conference, what's being implemented, and there will be more details to follow. And I'll, of course, keep you all up to date as we're receiving this and working toward it. We're actually, Perry Cron, the election system coordinator, has already gathered everything that needs to be gathered, and will be, those will be moving out to meet the state with those, and then in about a week, they will then replace the existing poll pads with the cellular poll pads. So that's where we are on those at this very point. We are told by the state and counties, which were pilot counties for the cellular poll pads, that the implementation of cellular poll pads would speed up the early voting process. At present, as you all know, if you came during advanced voting, early, also known as early voting, we would process straight into the ENET, the voter registration system, look a voter up, process them, and then they would move to the poll pad so that we could encode their card. Cellular poll pads, we're told, are going to cover, and what we were shown and what was exhibited to us is that it's going to be all in one. We pull up the voter. Actually, what we get I guess the most complaints more than anything with early voting is, why do I have to fill out that piece of paperwork? That's, of course, mandated by law that you complete your application. There is a stand that comes with the cellular poll pad. And again, I'll have more visuals for you in the very, very near future so you can see this. It's not mandated at present, but they're looking at it being mandated by the state through legislature, which has just went into session or about to go into session. So we're looking at who's going to have to pay for what right now. But the stand, the cellular poll pad, there will be a stand, and that will not come with it, that would have to be purchased unless the state mandates it. State mandates it, then it's paid for by the state, okay? So we're just watching that right now. But back to what will it do, the stand in itself will print the application after information the voter has looked up. It will print the application, which is about, it's bigger than your receipt, your standard receipt that you receive when you make a purchase. It's much wider than that, but it's not an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, okay? So, and then that is where they will sign, and they are signing, what they read is what they're signing, and it has their oath as well, okay? So all of it basically in one is what it looks like. Right now, we're having to watch who's going to have to pay for what. Any questions on that? I hope
So-
that wasn't too confusing.
So you're saying that would cut out 2 steps, not just one?
Possibly. I mean, yes. I mean, still they've got to pause and sign their, ticket,
Yes,
I
sure.
guess you would say, and their oath. But they would not be completing the whole paperwork.
Right. Okay.
All right. The Secretary of State's office stated that Verizon has assured the state that they are working to ensure that all early voting locations in the state are covered. It remains unknown at this time as to whether the county in the future will be responsible for data coverage or not. So that wasn't quite clear, and I think those are things that they're still working out. So I'll keep you all posted as we find out more. The Secretary of State's office will be upgrading all of the Dominion equipment to 5.7. As more information arrives, again, I will keep you posted. That's all the ICXs, we call them BMDs, is what you hear most of the time. That's ballot marking devices. That's what the voter uses to actually mark their ballot. So those are being upgraded to the next version, Dominion version, and then so will the scanners as well. Access and utilization of ePulse. ePulse is a software program where at present, when we decide what poll pads need to be assigned to specific polling locations, we notified NoInc. NoInc and Dominion work hand in hand, but NoInc oversees those assignments. That's where we've ran into some issues when we're readying for an election. We, the assignments, we send the assignments to No Ink, and they're assigning for all 159 counties. Now that we will have access and be able to utilize ePulse, we will be assigning our poll pads where they're to go, which I do think will be very helpful and lessen the errors that we are seeing, is my belief. The utilization of ePulse will also allow us to generate several reports that may be helpful. We can actually see then when a voter came to vote, what day they came, the time they came, which could be beneficial as well. We do have people that will appear on election day and say, you know, I didn't early vote, but they really did. We don't have many of those, but some people really do forget sometimes that they early voted because it was 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So, addressing public comment concerns, any questions on the updates, equipment, and what have you? Okay. All right, addressing public comment concerns. I know that at the last 2 meetings, Dr. Jones has shared some concerns with you, and I want to address those concerns. One of those being that the open records request provisional votes cast was the actual open records request. Provisional votes cast is different from provisional votes counted. So the concern was, why was that different, the provisional votes cast number, different than that of the total shown on the election summary report? The reason being, provisional ballots voted are different than provisional, well, not always, could be. And in this case, they were. They were less because there were a certain amount of provisional votes cast that were not eligible to be counted. Most of the time, the reason for that is a voter is not eligible to vote because they're not registered to vote. Okay? So just to clear up the difference in the answer to the open records request and what was seen on the election summary report. Also shared was concerns of voters being changed from active to inactive. Want to make the board aware and all of the public, we do not have the capability, or are we directed to change a voter from active to inactive. Active to an inactive status occurs when a voter has not participated in elections for a specific period of time. This is a way that the state keeps up with who do we need to make contact with. Have they moved? Do they need to change their address? So one only goes, it is our understanding, that one only moves from active to inactive by one or two or both reasons, and that being not participating in elections for a period of time, along with not answering confirmations. There are different types of confirmations that go out to a voter. There's no contact for 2 generals. There is the NCOAs, that's National Change of Address. So that is how a voter moves from active to inactive. As far as our office is concerned, we treat all active and inactive voters the same. I almost wish they maybe would find a different term for inactive, because it sounds like they're not going to get a ballot or they're not registered. We receive that a lot, especially when you move into a general election like we did. People were concerned. They looked up on my voter page and they saw inactive and they didn't understand, and they and it concerned them. So we're trying to educate more on that. Active and inactive, our office processes as far as elections, absentee applications, we process them the same. We don't look at them differently. Okay, it's only when the state notifies us they've been inactive for this period of time, now they go to a delete status because they've tried to send and contact the voter with no contact. And that really takes about 8 to 10 years, honestly. And they just covered that in Jarvis when we were there. We're talking about that.
So just to be clear, to go from inactive back to active, all it takes is communication with the office.
Exactly.
Or
It can
show
be
up
an
to vote.
address change, show up to vote, and it immediately,
And
that
so
contact,
Immediately they go back to active status. There's nothing else that has to be done.
that's right.
Thank you.
No extra move or work. Okay, let's see if I've covered everything. So challenged voters, that was also made a concern of why that was not answered, or that the answer was there are no records. Trying to think of the term.
Responsive.
Thank you, Stephanie. No records responsive to this request on challenged voters. Well, I can always answer this question and all the questions that were presented to you in a public forum. I'm more than glad. That's what open records request, if it's made and someone doesn't understand something or they think they see something different, I encourage the public or whoever is making the open records request to communicate, that to us so it can be explained. Okay? So, but back to the challenged voters, there were no challenged voters. So there were no records responsive to the request. Staffing, just wanted to let you know, and I think most of you do, William Godat's last day in our office was December the 30th, 2022. I just want to take the time to say William was a huge asset to our office during a major transitional time, and we will always, always be grateful for his contribution and dedication to the election process here in Spalding County. He will be missed. There is a part-time position open in our office, and this information may be found on our county's website. After agendas, I know there have been concerns that have risen in reference to after agendas. There has been a plan put in place, I promise you that, and so going forward, they will be posted in a timely manner. I will be out of the office until next Tuesday, just letting you know that. There are a couple things that came in at the last minute that I thought that I really should share with you. In regards to the fake ballot that was found, just an update on that. I still have not received a response from the Secretary of State's office. I don't know at this point in time there will be one, but I will continue to ask. In the midst of finding the fake ballot, we also found out, as you know, that we should have had a wand on hand. What is the wand? The wand should allow us to determine whether paper is of security paper or not. We did not have that. The state said, well, everyone would have received that. They were pretty determined that we did have that, but we've looked and looked and we have not found the wand. Therefore, the state has told me 2 to 3 times that we will send you a wand. I still have yet to receive that. So, we moved forward, and I asked Perry Cron, Election System Coordinator, to reach out to Dominion, or actually go onto their site to see if we can find the wand and go ahead and just purchase one. At first, the wand was not for purchase. Now it is for purchase, and is $173. That's just an information piece I wanted to share with you. So we will be getting one of those as soon as we place the order. We just found that information out today. I do want to share, though, at this point, too, that I have the privilege to ask several other counties about their wand and if they had a wand when we were at conference. And anyone that I've come in contact, and it's been at least 10, they don't have a wand either. So I'm not quite sure where the ball was dropped on this. I do think it's important enough to share with you all, though. Okay? And then there was one other piece of information, just wanted to share with you that next week when I return, I will begin composing a letter to our local legislation in regards to the workshop that we had on the 3rd, and just the things that are of concern to us. And of course, I'll share that with you all and with Stephanie before that goes out. And that's all I have.
Kim, at the January 3rd meeting, you very appropriately reported that we were having a problem with the ballot. Is there any chance that the 3 representatives who were present could help us with that matter?
You're talking about with the fake ballot, Jim,
Yeah.
that was found? Yes, and that's going to be a part of it as well. Yeah, a major part of it. That's all I
Thank you,
have.
Kim.
Thank you.
Moving on to old business. Jim, would you like to give us a report on amending the elections office bylaws?
Yes.
Actually, we're not amending them, we're pretty much rewriting them, right?
Well, the technical term, I believe, is amendment, and I can be
Okay.
corrected if that's not accurate. there's 4 steps we're going through. We formed a committee, Jim Newland, myself, and Dexter, and we have made some minor errors attempting to sync the bylaws with House Bill 769 and Senate Bill 202. So there's some things that are just obvious that need to be included based on those 2 laws. The next thing is, during the week, I sent the bylaws, the draft version, to the county attorney, and she's agreed to do a review. After that, we make some edits, and I also sent the bylaws on to Ms. Supervisor, Ms. Slaughter, for review to see how her role may be impacted, as well as members of the office staff. And she is welcome to say that she wants to participate in that, or she wants to pass it to someone else. So then we make edits based from all the changes that are recommended from these different sources, and at some point, all the changes and the version 2 of the bylaws will be presented to the board for discussion and for voting. And that's the way we're proceeding right now.
Thank you. Now to new business, setting the calendar of meetings for 2023. I don't have a list of dates. Do you? You do? Okay, here we go. So it's the second Tuesday every month except November.
That's correct.
Okay, the second Tuesday every month except November.
Or if there is a special election call that has to be certified.
Right, right.
um,
So
that's
any,
the only reason that
any
we
month
never
that we
do.
have an election, we have to certify the next week on Monday or Tuesday. Okay. So I guess we're voting to set the meetings for the second Tuesday, except during election week.
Just a question about that. Are we still gonna be able to get this time slot so we can use this space?
This space is reserved for the second Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m.
Okay, perfect.
So I'd entertain a motion.
You happen to make that motion?
Second,
All in favor? Passed.
I might like to comment, I took some grief at home tonight when she realized, my wife realized that the second Tuesday is Valentine's Day.
We all
That is
will. We all will. We're moving on now to the election of chairman for January 2023 through December of 2024. Do I hear any nominations?
I would nominate Ben Johnson for chair.
Okay, any other?
The reason I'm hesitant is Ben's not here, and do we know that he'll accept it?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, then I'll,
you second?
yes.
Okay. Any other nominations? Nope. All in favor? Poor Ben. I hesitate over this next one.
I would move that we have Jim Newland become the vice chair for 2023.
Then I have a second. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. That appears to be all we need to do on the election of officers, okay? Well, then all we need to move to now is board member comments. And do we have anything else? No? Okay. Roy, do you have a comment?
I do, and so it's come to my attention from a number of folks in the county that they would like to see some meetings during the earlier hours so that some of our more nighttime challenged folks would be able to get to a meeting to see. So for 2023, I would ask that especially when we have special call meetings and things like that, that we try to have those maybe at an earlier hour, even if we can't have them in this space. It might enfranchise, if that's a word, some folks so that they could actually come to a meeting and be able to be a part of the process. But I've had a number of people tell me that they just can't drive after dark. And in the wintertime hours, it's especially a problem. So I'm not asking to change our normal meetings, but when we have reason to have additional meetings, we might try to do those, maybe just so that people would be able to get home before dark.
Well, I guess as long as Ben is able to fulfill his duties, that we'll have to take that up with him, right?
I'm just making it for information. I'm not.
I don't
making a motion
disagree
or
with you at
anything.
all, I don't know that it's anything we need to vote on, I don't think so.
But it's not an action item, it's
No,
just
I
part
don't
of
think
his
so.
comment.
Yeah, sure, okay.
I'd like to second that. I heard the same thing, especially with the January 3rd meeting.
Okay, thank you. That only leaves me. I'd like to take this opportunity, and I see that we have staff out here in the audience, as well as Kim, to thank you for the great work that you've done over the past year. I have to tell you that I have gotten nothing but good comments for the general election, and that gets you a gold star, because that's never happened before, to my knowledge. Went smoothly. Unfortunately, in the runoff, we only had a very short time for the early voting, but we pulled it off, and congratulations. Okay, so that's it, huh? So I would entertain yes,
Motion to adjourn.
thank you. Second, all in favor? This meeting is now adjourned.
That's one of the easiest ones.
Gosh, James.